All right, I'm staring at that microphone icon, and I see clearly it's not muted, so we're going to kick off the losers match now for the TING Open. It is another best of 5. That's right, guys. Every match today is best of 5. 5 best of 5s in total, and this is going to be the last group stage for players to play with. After this is going to be the round of 8. That comes tomorrow. Then we got 2 best of 7 semifinals on Sunday, and 1 best of 9 grand finish on Monday. So thank you guys so much for joining us as we get into this series. Spawning in the top left side of Learlac Crest, it's going to be the European Zerg player, Nerchio.
In the bottom right, as the blue Terran, he is Polt.
Okay, so we are currently playing on the East Coast server, but I want to, again, full sake of transparency, explain the server choice more than anything about the game really quick. As we did opt to let Nerchio swap EU, NA, EU, NA in the favor of, well, of course, NA would be East Coast NA. But East Coast NA is apparently, it's playable enough. Nerchio doesn't actually mind staying on North America, so we opted to play all the games here on North America.
Yeah. Yep, I did say that it favors Polt.
It does. He straight up lives on the East Coast. This is home field advantage.
Yeah, and I guess Nerchio wasn't sure about that, so we asked where he lives.
This might be one of those things where he loses the first game. It's like, you know what, maybe we could swap to Europe. That would be a bad idea.
Oh, God. Yeah, I don't know if we'll allow that. Nerchio seemed like he really didn't care, though. We'll see what his plan looks like. It is the losers match, so whoever's out of here is just out.
Gone.
Gone forever.
Now, luckily, and again, we're hoping to continue bringing back more TING content in the future. Tailoring it perhaps a little bit more to where the views are and less about jumping all over the world. I gotta say, like, I would be really happy if we could do like an all-Korean version of this, or an all-European version of this, or, sorry, North America, not North American version of this. But either way, like, I will say, I have no gripes about the way this played out. From the qualifiers, which were intense, to the first round of groups, every player, for the most part, showing us great games, and just... The best part was because it was all qualifiers and nobody was invited, we really didn't have a lot of people come here and phone it in. They were all fighting from the get-go. Like, the moment you entered that qualifier, double elimination, you know you're playing a ton of games for TING and trying to win that $2,500 first place prize. Plus, we haven't advertised it a lot, but there is a trophy that goes with this too. Like, there's an actual physical real-life trophy that TING made.
Yep. We heard that players actually really like the trophy, and we've had experience with that. Parting loves the trophy we sent him.
I don't think the public knows that story too well. I think my favorite trophy. My favorite trophy is still the Hell's Time wrestling belt. That ended up being the coolest.
Yeah, that also though was like something that Parting said he really wanted. So. He wanted to go to the tournament.
He contemplated screwing up his career in China to come for our one event. Like, that's how cool that belt allure was. But, man, I still remember there was a time, it's long since gone, there was somebody who owned a jewelry store that wanted to support BaseTradeTV. And we had contemplated something like monthly finalist winners would get like a BaseTradeTV ring. Like a straight up gold ring. It would cost a couple $100, but we could get it at like less than 100 per ring made type thing. It would have been so sick and so cool. So
yeah,
I'm a little sad that never went through. But the fact that we've been able to hand out a couple trophies, TING doing another one here, like, that's cool. It's not the craziest thing in the world, but it is that element of neato.
Neato jet. Someone asking why does Polt still have CM Storm, because of course it's not in CM Storm. Funnily enough, both him and Bly, I guess they detached from their teams.
Yeah, so
not after a season lock, or not right before one rather. So they don't have a name change coming soon.
But I also doubt they ever used the one they had. So I gotta imagine they've got that. They just don't know about it.
Thing. Yeah. You get a new one every season, but right, people just don't seem to know about it. I don't know. But it's also that they probably don't play on these accounts that often either, which that maybe you're going that way, like either one. Of course, they're playing on barcodes or, other names most of the time, or not even on this server, for instance, for, like Nerchio. But Nerchio never bothered to put Acer on his clan, or his regular name.
Well, we've spent a lot of time talking about nothing, because Polt was doing what Polt does best. So Nerchio need to make it a second here. Where he does play, standard. And by standard, we just mean no gimmicks, no frills. He just plays about as safe as you can in the opener, gets that macro going, and then starts dropping. This is what we know him best for, and this is what he's starting to do. When Rogue beat him earlier, after failing a couple of cheeses, it really did come to like the benefit of him shutting down drops early on and not letting Polt get out of hand. So Nerchio already taking some damage from this. Not really a way to clean this up yet, but that Spire is on the way.
Yeah. He did delay the Spire a little bit to get that third base, but is still getting it before his evolution chambers. Once again, Nerchio bothered to get a Roach Warren as well, which is what he did in the first game versus Ryung, I think. Yeah, pretty sure. So he might be going up to a similar style where he goes to, he also gets the Spire and the Visitation Pit really quickly. It's the same map too, isn't it? And he supplements the Ultralisks with a lot of Roaches. Now, Ryung had a really good time at late game versus Nerchio, which is really odd to say because most of the time it's what they're scared of is the late game Zerg, but Ryung did really well against it. But he was playing kind of not his own style, we've seen other Terrans do it, but a style that we don't see too often. Much more commonly we see Terrans panic, try and attack, fail the attack, then try and build Liberators, and then the Liberators get countered by Corruptors because they don't do enough damage. And I'm not sure which type of player Polt's going to be. I feel like more often I have seen him go for the defensive setup, just get a fourth base, slowly crop to Liberators, as opposed to what Ryung was doing, which was going so Marauder heavy, and eventually adding on Liberators, yeah, but still taking fights with the bio on the ground.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to go back and talk about something because I appear to have incidentally offended people. When I was talking about NA, Korea, Europe, it wasn't so much about the players, guys. It was the viewers. The number's always strongest here because you actually have, believe it or not, no matter what cast we do on BaseTradeTV, the United States is always our #1 viewership. And for TING, that works out perfectly because for TING, they can only sell and market to people in the United States. So the biggest views don't come from our North American events. We get like 3,000 people there. We got like, 6,000 today, 5,000? Like, it's very clear that there's more views here.
Yeah.
Oh, Roach won't get denied. That's going to suck. Nerchio's going to tap out.
He was playing so greedy. He had only gone for mutas, hadn't gotten any ground force whatsoever, and with the push, he just was tapping out.
I'm wondering if there was something that went wrong though, because like he had that pause, he had the little slanty face, like something's up, man. So maybe it was a cause of being greedy. Maybe he actually had something going against him. We'll ask him and find out, guys. We'll give him a second here. We don't normally take a break at this time, but we will just pop into one to make sure that Nerchio is all good. So we'll keep this short as we can, and we'll be back in a few. All right, we're back, and apologies for that quick little break there. We just want to make sure Nerchio had everything good to go as we get into this game. So he says he's fine. We'll hope he's all good. Ladies and gentlemen, map 2 in this best of 5 for the losers match. Remember, this is everyone's life on the line, and none of these guys are quite safe yet. Spawning in the top right side of Dusk Towers, it's going to be the blue Terran Polt.
In the bottom left as the red Zerg, he is Nerchio.
So of course, top 8 in this tournament get prizing. So we were so far away from the actual prize money before, it wasn't really worth bringing up other than the generic prize pool, $5,000. That's a lot for many players to split. But if you make it out of the group here, you're guaranteed, just by getting to the round of 8, $100. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
But of course, it's the $2,500 first place prize I think everyone's got their eyes on.
Yeah. So that last game might have looked a little odd, seeing Nerchio tap out so quickly. It definitely was because he realized he had no army, but the reason as to why he didn't have an army, I guess, is a little more complicated. He was being pretty greedy. He might have been trying to do the same thing he did against Ryung, which almost worked out. Ryung ended up taking the game, but after a very long, drawn-out battle. I think he was expecting Polt to go for 3cc, as Polt does usually go for macro games, like standard, not super greedy macro games, but still macro games. And Polt actually went for that 2-base tank push that I talk about so commonly on Lairlac Crest.
Yeah, I mean, it was... There's so many times where we watched Nerchio play, and this was actually present in the previous series too, where you're like, okay, we know that supply is coming soon. Where is it? The mutas, please? Come on.
Yeah. He might have been hoping the mutas would be able to scout whatever was coming, so he would be prepared, and then was so surprised by the actual push. Because the thing is that diagonal spawn, sometimes the Terran does decide not to go for the 2-base push or just in general, Polt doesn't decide to go for the 2-base push. But it happened. It's kind of a game that I think you have to kind of just throw away in your mind. Like, you're down 1-0, but it was so abrupt, just trying to let it affect you. And Nerchio's going into another opportunity to get to where he wants to go on Dusk Towers. So maybe be a little more mindful to see what the build is and whether or not Polt's moving out. Maybe not as greedy as Nerchio was being, but I mean, the thing is that you want to get as greedy as possible. You want to be able to read Polt like a book and just be the perfect Zerg, basically. Just didn't happen that last game.
So, cool little thing. We mentioned earlier this is a bit of an IEM rematch for the semifinals. Polt and Nerchio coming back at it again so quickly. IEM actually just released the replay pack from Katowice. So, if you guys want to take a look at some games over there, it's just worth mentioning that those are apparently public now, which is cool.
Yeah.
Cool beans. I think that might actually be our phone on this one. It did, they only contacted me to get our replays the day my power went out, right? So it's kind of like, oh, I'll get them to you guys as soon as I can.
Oh, whoopsie.
Can't really magic my computer online. It's worth noting, though, this is kind of a cool fact, my battery totally worked. The surge protector battery for the computer,
oh, nice.
That thing actually lasted a lot longer than I thought it would, which was nice. But also, my computer was on overnight, so that sucked.
Oh. Well, we do have some Hellions and a Liberator following upset Hellions, so not the quickest third base coming out from Polt. Nerchio gets a Roach Warren yet again, and his own third base. We'll see if he gets any cautionary roaches. I give a shout out to Jean Paul, who donated me 10 Canadian dollars, so I guess he's probably from Montreal.
Jean Paul.
Yeah, but thank you. I can't read the message, though, because my Twitch alerts is not on mine right now.
You could just put it on a different browser. I don't know why you don't do this. It would save so much hassle and trouble.
Because I very rarely get my own donations, so...
Okay. I mean, I can't argue with that, because I know that's the same feel, but it's just like... The hassle of the two-step authentication thing versus just putting it on, like, Internet Explorer, which you won't have to check often.
Oh, I haven't had to deal with the two-step authentication, actually.
Well, I mean for base trade.
No, I didn't have to deal with that either. I thought I would have to, so I tried it today, and it just automatically logged me in. I guess I checked like the remember me for 30 days thing, so...
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, I was doing streams on my own channel recently, and I don't open up my Twitch alerts. They're like, Rifkin, I think it was like Panic Switch or something. Like, check your donations. I'm like, no, why? Don't do that. I have to log around. Logging around for $10 is not worth it. God damn it. Okay, so Hellions are being pushed back. In fact, Nerchio already picks one off. That's not too bad. Creep Tumor's being denied at the same time, so Polt kind of getting some worth out of these Hellions. Not exactly killing drones, but not too bad either. Ooh, last one getting caught by the lings in the middle of the map. A little bit awkward. But while this goes on, Nerchio starts up that lair, and we'll see if he decides to go fast to Hive or some other route this game. Of course, he's starting to already fall a little bit behind in supply. Not majorly so, but I am worried we'll see a bit of a repeat where you're like, okay, Nerchio, time to fly. Where's your supply? And he's like 20 versus 40.
Shouldn't be as bad this game. He went for a couple of units, and he's getting upgrades before lair, so he's not trying to get up to units that would very good harassment, but not very good, head-on. In fact, he's going for Roach, maybe a couple of Infestors without Pathogen Glands, and then up to those Ultras, so it's going to be a bit better of a mid-game for him. Plus, Polt is not doing a 2-base attack. He does have that 3rd base on location. This drop just has to be covered by having units, catching the drop, and he'll be fine. Why am I taking everyone's memes?
What?
Everyone just spamming shit. I don't understand.
Okay.
I'm gonna take my meme.
Take my ace, Kate.
I don't get it.
I think they're doing that stupid dab thing. I don't get why that's a thing, by the way. God damn it, Real Sports. What have you done? Nerchio, of course, loses most of his front line here, which is unfortunate. Mostly it's just the Lings, of course, but as there's no fodder for these roaches, they get focused down pretty quickly. Still unable to get any creep spread out, by the way. You just gotta give some credit to Polt. Without that creep spread, Nerchio loses a little bit of mobility, sure, but also has no map vision compared to what a normal Zerg player has in this sort of situation.
Yeah, that's certainly true. So it's a little dangerous to play, but the hope is that we have creep spread, first of all, which Nerchio really doesn't have. And then second, You get up to ultras before they really push you. And Polt's not really pushing. He does have Marines out and about, but like these tanks aren't around. His Liberators back at home.
Well, that's where it gets interesting, right? Because it is the question of like what's even better than Polt out there named Beyond. And funny enough, Nerchio was the first guy to ruin Beyond's win streak in like 3 months of playing the game. He was the first Zerg player to actually beat Beyond, and he did it with Roach, Ravager, and Fester. So that's the strategy we see him going for here, and it is, in my eyes, always a little bit of a trademark Nerchio strat. Not because maybe he invented it. I'm not saying he's the first one to do it, but he was the first one to really beat a big name like Beyond with it. I don't remember which tournament that was for, however, but this sort of mid-game play is really good, and it does give that nice transition to ultras later on. You'll have the support for said ultras when you make them, if you've got Roaches, Ravagers, and Infestors alive.
The Infestors are getting that energy. They have important fungals, and Polt is... Okay, he's finally pushing with the rest of his army. His tanks are on the way. Whatever Liberator he had, I think, is also coming forward. Or... No, it's actually going behind to harass a little bit. But still, those tanks can seat up on the low ground of the edge, and this could be a very good fight for Polt. At the very least, hopefully forces Nerchio to stop banking as many minerals as he is right now to get those Ultralisk. Upgrades are actually even. Perfectly even, really. So that's pretty nice for Nerchio. That's nice for Polt.
This does get worrisome, though, because as the tanks start coming in, obviously his threat to the base, he's going to lose that. That sucks. But at the same time, fungal growth landing on the medevacs, fungal growth landing on the tanks. You can't pick them up anymore. The Ravager Crucibles are guaranteed to hit. Shout out to JTDC for the $2 donation, but as of last time we cast, I still reserve not to read any of his hate speech that I always know is in these donations.
Well, it's not even hate speech, so... It just says, avoiding important sleep by watching BaseTradeTV. Living the dream.
Shit, there's not like a vampire joke in there somewhere? I'm like...
I checked.
I'm like reading it backwards, trying to check.
Did he capitalize the letters? This whole vampire?
Yeah. Okay, this is actually great for Nerchio. If you can get a fungal growth here, the units are clumped. This is a good spot for a fight. Hits a good fungal. He's going to catch some of this front line pretty easily and almost for free. Does back away, though. Infestors, of course, very important to keep alive. Not worth any amount of Marine kills, but definitely worth tank kills. Ultra's on the way. Chitinous Plating about halfway, a little over halfway done. It's very worth noting that we did see a Nerchio mistime the attack with Ultras before versus Ryung. Let's hope he doesn't do it here for Polt. Because I feel like Ryung, as good as he is, you cannot make any mistakes against Polt. Ryung maybe can squeeze in one or two. But not here. That's not rude either. That's just the fact. Ryung has goofed up more than Polt's ever has on stream. Chitinous Plating, 3, 2, 1. Time to go, baby. Loses the base for it. That one Ultra. Oh, that melted.
Yeah.
This is a mist of red. Tanks unsieged don't have too bad damage in this situation.
I don't know about this. So he's going to get a hive and a fourth, but is he going to lose his entire army for it?
I mean,
no,
there's no follow-up to this.
Oh my
god. Came in late. If he had got those medevacs, that would have been worth losing the hive. But the hive went down, starts up another layer, loses his mining bases. In fact, the natural is a little bit low, but not quite mined out yet. Nerchio's going to go for the big counterattack, and Polt, well, doesn't have a planetary, but an orbital coming down here at the 4th, actually. So most likely this will die, if not lift off and run away.
Yeah, it can lift off, so kind of a trade here. I think it's actually going to be better lifting off. Liberators siege up. Nerchio is only taking on about half of the army or less here.
Oh, but the Liberators go down pretty quick.
It's not going to do so well.
Coming back home, Polt's got those drops heading towards the main. It's danger, it's danger. Holy shit, Hitler's just donated 60. What's that about? We'll look into that in a second. The Liberator gets a decent siege up here around the ramp. Crucibal's going to try and hit some of these SCVs. Misses just ever so slightly. But knocks down this base, stops mining. Polt does drop once again into the natural, but Ultras hold on to this. Ultras, one Ultra per base could hold on to drops. That's not the problem right now. Nerchio has actually completely shut down mining effort Polt because he has walled off his main. So, weirdly enough, they're both losing their most important bases.
Yeah, I don't know why Polt didn't lift off that base.
Right? The whole point of making this an orbital instead of a planetary is so you could lift it.
Yeah, but he does save his third. That just lifted off. So he still has 3 bases, potentially. Nerchio getting up to 4, however, with a better army. Polt just, he's still sneaking out a couple of Liberators here and there. He's got, I guess now his trademark Thor. He's got his trademark Viking, and now he has a Thor.
The army supplies right now are really weird. Nerchio's got a supply lead, but I actually don't like his army currently. If there's more Infestors in it, I would actually feel like this was an amazing army. But problem is, mobility is going to be the issue, and it's not about like catching Marines stemming around or drops going left and right. It's trying to actually mobilize into a position where you can take on the Liberators while keeping the Ultra safe and sound.
Mm-hmm. Alright, the Liberators get caught a little bit with that one fungal, so that was a nice pick-off. Nerchio is still up 30 army supply. But the Liberators could really tear that down easily if they got the correct position. With so many Ravagers to help them out. Polt does have, what's this, 2 drops going into the 3rd base. They could target some very key structures here. The Infestation Pit, the Roachborn, maybe the Spire, or the Ultra's Cavern in the Natural. Oh, but that fight, this fight, no. Everything just goes down. There's like no hope there.
It's a 2 medevac drop counterattack. Queens are blocking out the Lings, but as the Ultras come in, it's just Marines, so this will be an easy hold for Nerchio. He does decide to go back home because it's not worth pushing up the ramp. Duel of Titans going down here, but the Ultralist does win. And this is looking like a great game for Nerchio because he is mining off of these 2 bases now. He wasn't before, kept getting knocked down, losing tech, that kind of sucked. But as long as he doesn't lose too much pushing up the ramp, he has shut down Polt's mining. Polt, who's been muling all game, has no minerals left in either of these bases. They're pretty much gone. And the army standing is the army I think he'll have. As long as Nerchio doesn't over-dedicate and push into silly locations, he should be good to go. Corsair Gear should be raining down as he runs away too. Like, those should be just covering his ass as he falls away to safety.
Yeah, the Ultralist's booties be covered by corrosive biles.
Ultra's booties are actually kind of tiny. They're about the you know what? The Ravager's tail I think is about the same size as the Ultralist's stub.
Oh, he's a little stub. Looks like he's Apollo.
Aww. So Twitch Alerts donate $60.93. Here's enough money to buy 4 large pizzas. Hashtag Twitch Alerts payday. I don't know what that's about, but I'm down for 4 large pizzas.
I mean, there's been like a little bar on top of your Twitch Alerts for the last 6 months.
Oh, I have not noticed at all. But yo,
I didn't look into it either.
At the end of the day, $60 is $60. Hype.
Yeah, you want to get a pizza?
Well, we'll get 4 large ones, 2 each.
Oh, I don't think I need that much pizza.
You don't eat all today. You put it in the fridge, get cold pizza, girl.
Oh, what's up?
You know how it do.
Polt's trying to make something happen here with drops and good focus fire.
And it is good
trying
focus
to spread
fire.
Nerchio apart. Yeah, he takes down an Ultralist. And he's trying to get his mining back up too. Has a 3rd base.
Marauders shooting over cliffs and things are straight up like bullshit Jedi Force into the Death Star stuff. Oh no! That corrosive bile! Well, that was the majority of Polt's army. He is mining, but I don't know that he can ever make up that damage. Oh my god, Zombie Grub.
No. I think Nerchio's got this in the bag. This will be a 1-1. Actually, Polt's going to have at least a +3 upgrade for a little while, at least for this push. But there's so few units to take advantage of it.
Right? I mean, the funny thing is the Liberators, they're all stuck. Just take them all out. Knock him out the box, Luke. Knock him out. Nerchio ties it up 1-1. Well done. That looked shaky when it came to the base trade that kind of went on, but you know, you trade 2 bases out for 2 bases out, and you get to replace yours. Your opponent takes him down again, then you replace him again. That's how you win a game, apparently. The Nerchio School of Zergonomics.
No, that was first True's school, so just calm down there.
No, True's was replacing one at a time, constantly, always, like, and shuffling the drones around like a madman. That guy was crazy at that. I gotta say, if there's one intro you want to have a donation sound interrupt, it would be the Preon Terrace one. Thank you, CK Walsh, for the $2 donation. This bastard with his beard. He says, very amazing, much pro, inspiring replays, exciting casters. Thank you, Ting, Rifkin, and Zamriub. P.S. Capitalization Kappa, and you guys can't read it, but he capitalized every second letter like a dick. But okay. I actually mean to say thank you. Whoops. It's funny here in the top left side of the map. We are in game 3 here for the losers match. It is the blue Zerg player, Nerchio.
In the bottom right, as the red Terran, he is Polt.
So this is, of course, brought to you by Ting. Reminding everybody they are a U.S. mobile phone service. Looking to save you some money. Check them out, bttv.ting.com. But Ting Jesse is also in chat lurking. He works for them. He's the one who set up this tournament with us. We met with him at his office and all that good stuff and got to tour the Ting headquarters. So if you guys have any questions for him, please poke him in chat and he'll hopefully answer any questions you have. It could be anything about Ting to what is his favorite race in StarCraft. Go nuts. He's a fun guy. But he also says that we should order him a pizza. It's worth noting, guys, Jesse ordered us pizza when we went to meet with him.
It's true.
And while I've met with many sponsors in my life, some in real life, none have ordered us pizza. So, you know, kind of first love, never forget.
Delicious. Did we take that home? No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. I would have felt. I wanted to ask, and I know they would have said yes, but at the same time, I'm like, well, we're going to like, the aquarium, and I don't want to lug a pizza box. Like, hey, fish, do you like pepperoni?
You could have checked it. Just checks this.
I like to check my pizza. Only $5. Well, I'll just get a new pizza then. Like, this is ridiculous.
It was really cold outside. Just leave it out. It'll be fine. It'll be cool by the time we were done.
I love cold pizza. I ordered a pizza last night during the power outage because I was like, I need something warm. I've been eating bread all day, right? And I got their extra large pizza, which I've never gone for an extra large before, so I was ordering for everybody. I had one of those moments, like, you know when there's those gifts where something fits perfectly in something, but it doesn't look like it would? Like the vacuum cleaner slides into the corner of the room exactly fitting it, or like a bookshelf. So I go to put this in the fridge when it's full, so I'm like, I wonder if this will fit in the microwave. Oh my god, exact fit. Like, on every dimension. I was like, oh, I should take a video of this. I don't know.
So, my mom, like, the only game she's ever really enjoyed has been Tetris. She's so good at Tetris. It's so evident in her real life, because she'll be like, just let me do this. And like, I'll literally just be like, Mom, help if I can't fit something in the refrigerator, and she'll look at it and like rearrange everything.
It's a gift, man. You're like, oh, Mom, I can't fit everything in my bag for packing for like DreamHack Austin. Help me out.
I've never asked her for help there, but she probably would be really good at it.
Do you know, all this time we've spent together at events, I've never actually looked in like your suitcase or anything. Do you roll your stuff up, or do you fold it for clothing?
Fold it.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. I'm a folder personally, or a roller personally. So. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, it's okay. All right then.
What do you guys like to do? Leave it in the comment section down below. I always hate that on YouTube. Like, it's such a good thing to do, right? Like, objectively, it's a smart thing to do to get engagement from your audience. But I'm always like, oh, I can't wait to write my answer and have them. Wait, there's 7,000 other people, right? They're not going to see my answer.
Sometimes they will. You don't know. It happens.
It's like winning the YouTube comment lottery.
Yeah. So we do have builds being chosen now. Polt's going for a third CC, Nerchio's going for a third hatchery. Polt's actually doing a little bit of aggression with this tank drop since he doesn't need it at home.
Thank you, Funny55, for the 3-month resub.
He's so funny.
He's 3 times as funny as he was 3 months ago.
This guy wants to buy Shoutout.
Wants to buy a shoutout? What?
He has coins. He says WTB Shoutout. Milius Pro. He subbed today when we were offline.
Oh, yeah, that was one of the guys we shouted out.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is that we did go over at the start of the broadcast, but he probably wasn't around.
Well, now that he's a sub, you can check the VODs. There you go. Alright,
well,
tank
you got a
dancing
special
around.
double shout-out.
So 2 tanks can do a considerable amount of damage, and the nice thing about Prey on Terraces is you do have like ridges to put the tanks on both sides of, high ground to take advantage of. There's a lot of dancing you can do with tanks. There are 2 downsides to this though. They're kind of limited in what they can do. They're very good around this third base at the gold specifically, by the way, but they're limited in what they can do, and the fact is Nerchio's going for Mutalisks behind us makes them even more limited. Once the Mutalisks come out, the trick isn't dealing with the tanks, the trick is dealing with the medevacs.
Yeah, definitely. But the Mutalisks are going to take a while to get out here, and the tank's going to continue to do damage, even though Nerchio is trying his best to focus fire on those medevacs. They're not low enough for Polt to absolutely pull back, but it's kind of scary. 3 Queens will be able to take them down really quickly, especially if Polt's not paying attention, like so!
That means he's going to lose one of his tanks. He might end up be better off shuffling him instead of just running away. Yeah, as we see, getting a couple more shots off, doing a little bit more damage. Unfortunately, though, he is kind of at the end of his rope. Now, this is funny because for me, when we watch Polt, this is about, I feel like, the cheesiest he gets in a lot of situations, right? Like, that's the limit right there. Because he's continuing to just take a third behind this. He's got plenty of Marines coming out.
Yeah, we haven't seen him do any, like, fast Reapers against the 2 Zergs that he's played so far, so yeah.
Yeah, this and Orbital seem to be the most, like, oh, let me just put some Reapers right outside your base type of maps.
Yeah, for sure, and he did not bother to do that. Even when Orbital was allowed in the map pool, he didn't go for it, so... He's not feeling the cheese today. He does do it not exactly commonly, but it seems more often in TVT. I don't know what that is about that matchup.
Well, I think actually TVT does kind of almost necessitate some 1-base builds now.
Yeah, probably. We do have the upgrades finishing up. Combat Shield just a little bit late on the 1-1-1, or 1-1 rather.
Oh man. By the way, people are actually going ham on this roll versus fold debate in chat.
Holy shit.
I said that sarcastically,
Calm
but we
down.
got some wars going on. This is like Captain America Civil War style
People are
shit.
bringing out the ace bands.
Dang, people are... Look, so here's the thing, right? Folding, I think it's like technically... rolling is technically more efficient, but if you're not someone who's stuffing your suitcase to the brim, folding's fine.
You also can't roll bras, so I just want to throw that out there.
Well,
hard.
I mean, there's like this movement where women aren't wearing bras as much anymore, so that's kind of cool too.
Well, it's actually only underwire bras that you can't fold. I guess you could fold, like, instead of a wire. But doesn't rolling get your clothes all wrinkly?
I guess it depends on what you do. I mean, like, for example, my dress shirts, yeah, I get all wrinkled up, but you just iron those. It's easy.
Oh,
They
okay.
get wrinkled when I fold them too, though. Like,
I'm not saying I even care about wrinkles because I don't, but
I want to get back on talking about no bras. If that's okay.
why? Bras make boobs look really good.
So
Like,
yeah, but
I love bras.
right, but there's like
we
this
should talk
level.
about this attack.
Okay, fine. Combat shields isn't done. Polt's kind of ready for the fight. Roach surrounds alright.
Yeah, tanks. Oh my god, there's so many tanks actually. Nerchio definitely should not have done this.
No, the
he
mutas-
tried to dive in with the mutas.
I think he was not just hoping, but relying on the mutas taking out those tanks. Now, Nerchio still has a supply lead, but the problem is he doesn't have a way to really break Polt. At most, he can force a lift off, probably kill some SCVs, but as long as Polt doesn't actually die, he's looking much better off for it. Does lift the CC, was getting a little bit scared with how low that was getting, but starts dancing around with these Marines pretty well, sends the army back, and a hive begins for Nerchio behind this. So he's not all or nothing with this attack, but that was pretty dedicated, and with the mutas, he was... I don't think he was intending to give the mutas away like that.
No, they went down so quickly, they really didn't do much damage at all. So, not a great attack from Nerchio, and Polt has a lot of room to maneuver now. Nerchio's going to try and get up to Ultralist, but that's still some time away. And Polt has, of course, medevac drops, your greatest strength as a Terran.
So push-up bras
Oh my god.
are like makeup. They're a lie. You think this
God.
girl's beautiful, but it's not the case.
She's still beautiful without the makeup. It's fine.
Well, she's beautiful for different reasons, of course, but I'm talking about physically attractive.
Wow. It's so rude. We do have Nerchio just pushing in again.
Oh, that's a lot of mules that just went down. That's actually going to really hurt for Polt economy-wise, but he's probably going to have to lift up this base one way or the other. But as we see, tanks are well positioned up here. This one's got 10 kills on it. He's been doing a great job holding on this location. Meanwhile, the counter pressure does start. Nerchio's starting to feel that burn. Doesn't have a base set up here. Is relying on golds, but the problem is golds are going to run out before he's really got the money to deal with the ultra, or sorry, to start creating those ultras. Like, the natural base is pretty much empty. This is going to be mining out quick. If he doesn't actually have a base down here, he's not going to be able to afford that many ultralisks.
No, this is probably... I mean, it's not game yet for Nerchio, but it's not a great position for him to be in, where he wants to be after his attacks. Attack was, ideally would have ended the game, of course, but...
Yeah.
Getting pushed back like it has. Polt just takes the third base again. He could start taking the fourth with his main as he starts to mine out, but he does have to rebuild a few of those SCVs.
Tinfoil hat, are you ready for this? Mm-hmm. Both of these players benefit from the later this tournament goes, because the Korean opponents are going to get tired and wear themselves out in the winners match, knowing that those won't be quick games. So it's already hella late in Korea right now. The longer they draw this out, if this goes to an ace match and each game's like 10 to 15 minutes, Ryong and Rogue are going to be so tired for that final series.
It's true. It's a good point. I think this is their theory.
No, of course,
draw on these games.
I'm being a little bit silly with this, but this was that was a great defense out of Polt early on, and this has really deflected Nerchio and put him in a bit of an odd spot. As he continues to try and recover, he double expands, and this is a great move because I think he's realized too, oh shit, I'm actually about to be out of money. I've actually already mined out and used most of that adrenaline rush that was the gold base.
Yeah, exactly. So Polt pushing in here is going to clear up creep. The creep on the left side is pretty insane, actually. This is the farthest 15 creep on this map.
It's so nice and symmetrical too.
Right? Symmetra? Who? Where?
Aw, man, she probably doesn't need a bra. She probably just uses her, like, arc light stuff, you know?
Arc light stuff?
Whatever it is.
Mini arc light lady.
Yo, if you guys don't know, Symmetra from Overwatch, hands up. That's my waifu, alright? None of you are allowed to...
I don't want her as my waifu. My waifu is Tracer.
So sick of Tracer. Oh my god. Apparently we got other donations coming. Sorry, CK Walsh. We'll get to that in a moment, man. I didn't hear the alert go off, but maybe it was just because of the heat of battle. Oh, those Curse of Battles are fantastic.
Snap.
barely gets, doesn't get the other medevac, but Polt stims in over here. Nerchio's got to choose to respond or camp that medevac, and unfortunately, he doesn't have a lot to respond with. Now that army size is huge, but where is it?
Well, the Ultra's coming out, they won't have plating, so they have to be very careful. Nerchio doesn't want to make the same mistake against Ryung, that he did against Ryung, rather. And once again, not in a great position. Even Workers is not going to favor the Zerg player. Polt could transfer over his 4th. He's got to transfer over his 4th, actually. He's starting to mine out of his own gold and main.
Looking for a couple of free shots from these tanks with the Corrosive Biles. You can catch so many of the medevacs. Oh, even the Fungal's getting a little bit scary there for some damage over time. Now, Chitinous Plating is 3 seconds from finishing. There we go. And that looks to be the trigger. That looks to be the trigger on this Zerg gun. It starts pushing in. The tanks get taken out pretty quick.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good concave. The last second realizes that, oh, maybe I should have saved my tanks.
Okay, Polt did know about the bottom left base. I was wondering if maybe he was a little overconfident for knocking down this one again. Drop heads off to the main. There's an Ultra that's going to spawn that will eventually deal with this. So Nerchio might not have to come home. But this choke is where it gets problematic. Ultras are great in every situation except for SimCity and chokes.
Yeah, and the unsieged tanks, the focus firing on the Ultra came first.
He just Corsair Gear half his health off that Ultralisk.
Oh, that's what happened. Oh, with only Roach Ravager left over, I don't think he can break Polt here, but he's gonna try.
Takes out the Liberators. Wants to knock down the space. I mean, it's worth noting, Polt doesn't have another base. He doesn't have something set up. This is his last mining base, and he's muling the hell out of it. This is gonna be dead soon. Not because Nerchio kills it, because he'll just be out of minerals. And looks like he will kill it.
Because he kills it, yeah. Polt's gonna have 3-3, and he can just lift his other command centers once he clears out this Overlord of Nerchio. I'm really surprised he hasn't done it yet. Of course, now he's on 27 SCVs, so he doesn't have much to mine with, but he has to do it now. His gold's almost mined out. He's almost no mining.
Yeah, this is really, for both players, the gold base has played a very strange economic boost to the early game. I mean, we see the spikes, too, when players are happily mining versus when they weren't. But it's Nerchio who managed to finally establish another base that looks a lot better. Now, to get caught up in some donations, because only love your guys, CK Walsh donates $2, and he says, verily, apparently men pursue inspired mess... I see what that's spelling out. I'm not even going to read the rest of that.
Well, that was odd to have a V word in there.
Apparently, I didn't look at the capitals of the last one. I didn't... Oh, God damn it. He spelled it in the last one, too. Stupid vampire dumb meme. JTDC donates $2.
Yeah? Oh, all right, I have to read that one.
Yeah.
Rifkin, I think you don't fully appreciate how hard it is to get a nice, subtle vampire joke to work. I mean, making a joke about vipers, that's not low-hanging fruit.
GG. Nerchio takes a 2-1 lead now in the series. Whoa!
Yeah. Yo, Polt, please.
Well, this does mean we're going to go to an actual commercial break now, folks. So, some words from our sponsors. Quick, simple. We'll take a bit of a breather here so we don't die. We'll give the players a moment to rest, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes as we continue the series when we return. XSplit, you little bastard! I figured it out! I figured out what's causing the muting, and it's not Rifkin being a dumbass.
Receiving incoming transmission.
Thank you for the donation. We'll get to that in a moment. So, I was like, I know for a fact, I always click the mic thing, right? And I'm like, man, it must unmute it, right? But the same way there's this weird 1 second delay, probably because there's so much stuff going on with XSplit and the computer and PC processes and all that. Because there's this 1 second delay, I think what happens, I just witnessed it happen. I clicked it, and as I tabbed away, I clicked it and it unmuted, but as I tabbed into the game, it remuted itself. So... I was so worried I was just getting straight up bad at this. I thought for sure, Rifkin, you've dropped the ball, man. You're no longer a good streamer. I didn't for 1 second think it was not my fault, but now that maybe there's a chance it is, that or it's still TLO, one of the two. I don't know. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ting Open. We are getting into game number 4. It's coming down on Orena. We got a ton of people tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the series so far. It is 2-1 for this guy, spawning on the bottom left side of the map. It's going to be our European hope, the Blue Zerg, Nerchio.
In the top left as the Red Terran, he is Polt.
Everyone's saying, Polt, take my energy. You got to channel that juju, guys. This is the loser's match, and if he loses here on Orena, he's out of the tournament for good. But Lollygagger donated $2 and said, "Somebody say bras." Good old Grim reset for 10 months. CK Walsh donates another $2, making a stupid acronym saying, "Vampire acronyms must precise idiom research A." All right, I'm done. I promise. And then Taco Stuff resubs for 21 months, and that should catch us up. So big love to everybody. Thank you so much for the support in whatever form you chose to do it in.
You know, the vampire thing's only really become very popular in the last 4 or 5, not even, no, like the last 2 months, I would say, right? So we haven't been to a live event yet. What's gonna happen when we go to a live event and you meet fans?
This already happened. CK Walsh brought me fucking roasted garlic at the Twitch meetup, remember?
No, I don't, because you probably told me the story, but I certainly, I forgot that happened, that you actually went to a LAN, but... I mean, more than just one person. Are you gonna get a bunch of people bringing mirrors up to you? Are you gonna get a bunch of people bringing roasted garlic?
I'm pretty sure that's when I'm... You know what? You know what's gonna happen? There's gonna be that one fan who comes up to me with a steak, a mirror, and that dumbass Catalina shirt. And I'm just not... My backhand, I'm not gonna be able to stop it. It's just baby powdered. Gonna smack him right across the face.
You're just gonna look so flippin' weird. You're not gonna get allowed into the convention. Guns are fine, sir. It's Texas after all, but a steak?
Oh, that's a sharp object. You can't bring that on planes or conventions. Okay, so Polt gonna do a bit of dancing right now, getting really annoying for Nerchio. Nerchio, by the way, worth noting, didn't go for anything too crazy. We didn't see evolution chambers or fast speed on overlords even, and this Reaper, are you serious? It's gonna go down finally. Reapers die so gloriously. That little spin, jump in the air.
Yeah, Nerchio did not go for anything aggressive, and what usually there's almost a necessity to try and do something, hold off on Polt doing his own push, getting a couple SCVs down, because Polt would be setting up for his own push. Whoever is aggressive on this map finds a lot of favor, usually. So this tank drop, it's only a single tank drop. It's not so worrying. But believe it or not, he could actually bring the Marines with this and have a pretty sizable push. And Nerchio's only just getting a Roach Warren. Polt saw the intention to get a third base and might try and abuse that. Just goes for the Marine drop, though.
Well, as the Marines do start approaching across the map, this becomes a little bit worrisome for Nerchio, because his supply isn't down. He is doing that thing where he is getting roaches a little bit delayed, so he doesn't have a lot to fight with, and it is mostly queens here on the front lines. Most of his supply comes from what is currently being produced and what's not actually available to play. So, cleaning up creep tumors, it was worth noting how good Polt did on I think it was the second map? Is that the second or the first map where he just completely shut down the creep spread of Nerchio? Like, just no chance whatsoever to get anything out of his base. I think it was on Dust Towers? Question mark. So first map? Question mark?
Maybe.
Okay. Either way, shutting down some of the creeps right here is not too bad. Overlord speed does begin, but I don't necessarily think it'll be for drops. Would be cool to see something come out a little bit later, maybe catch him off guard. I mean, Nerchio being up in this series, first off, a little bit surprising, but secondly, does give you a little bit of breathing room, wiggle room to experiment and play with some weirder things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Polt spam in chat right now. Jesus. Guys,
yeah,
if you want Polt to take your energy, please leave comments in the section in the like button down below.
Stop.
I don't know why I'm being so YouTube trolly today. I mean, I know these VODs are eventually going to go up on YouTube, and shout out to the people on YouTube. We actually love you. I don't hate you. I don't know why I'm doing this. But okay, Command Center going to get... maybe they cancel? Roaches are here to kind of catch the Marines as they come out. Roaches are here to catch the Marines. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. So a cancel on a command center because they just got a little bit too greedy with it. That's as simple as making it your main base and sending it over later, and no cancel, no headache.
It's
what he did.
Small moments like that, by the way, where I always forget how many things in the game Marines actually outrange. Because, depths are that one where you're like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Especially when they were broken, right? You got roaches as well, 4 range versus 5. Just
yeah,
cool little moments in StarCraft. But that infestation pit coming up, and Nerchio, as much as I want to fault him for that first game, the way it played out, I mean, these last two have been pretty good from him.
Yeah, actually, I have a pretty high hopes in this game for him, too, as he does have an okay army. He does see the push coming, and hopefully will be able to bump up his army's count a little bit higher to take care of it. And he should be good, especially since Polt will have to be very careful about his tank positioning. The Queens will help out as well a little bit against the medevac potentially.
no.
They actually
Oh,
bounce
no.
off the Ravagers.
The
That was
Ravagers
a
need to be
mistake.
behind the Roaches so they can take the hits, but that's not going to work out. Nerchio takes a terrible engagement. Positioning being the number one thing that worked against him.
Yeah, that was a very terrible start to that. Now he's trying to get up to that hive, but it's going to be halted so much longer now that he has to really, really worry about this push. He knows he can't set a third CCs, so he knows it's not do or die quite yet, and that third CC is still only halfway done. But Polt is now a lot scarier thanks to that mishap.
Receiving incoming transmission.
Okay, we got, it's almost raining here. I just had a storm, guys. Calm down. If I get a blackout on, Twitch alerts, I'm gonna be upset. There we go, another one comes in. We'll get to these donations in a moment, folks. Big love to all of you. Roaches and Ravagers, of course, thwarting off the front lines, hoping to keep Polt at bay, but Polt not taking any damage on these siege tanks. And, you know, from games 1, 2, and 3 till now, it's like a different player playing. He can't be touched.
Yeah. This position is just very, very abusive. Nerchio would have loved to either have mutas right now to start taking those tanks down, but he never went for them, or Ultralisk already out and ready to go. This is just too good of a spot to have only Roaches and Ravagers for. He's going to counterattack with a handful of Lings. That's a really good choice. There's actually not much here for Polt. He's been rallying everything forward to the main engagement. He also tries to take the main engagement, but has to funnel through against 3 tanks.
Yeah, Roaches bleed out pretty quick. He has picked up a lot of the tanks, though. Polt missing the pickups several times. Meanwhile, a small counterattack goes off, and he does get about 9 SCVs for his trouble, so not bad out of Nerchio, but losing so much of his army in the process. Oh, these corrosive bows are going to be good, though. Takes out a good chunk of the Marines. But that was a lot of fungal growth energy burned. Nerchio doesn't have more for the follow-up, and he's still down in, maybe, he's not down in supply, but his effective supply.
Yeah. He's still up 20, but when you consider that's Roach Ravager, it doesn't actually sound that scary. Look that scary, rather. He's got a 4th base on the way, and he is just counterattacking.
This rested donation. Read these out in stream in a moment. This is a great one. Yeah, the attack works. You know, it kills a lot of depots, pulls away the SCVs. Doesn't get a lot of kills here, but it's also going to trap the army, which is unfortunate. So he has to take a fight at face value. Now maybe Polt thought, I didn't need to bring everything back home, and Liberators and tanks would just cut off reinforcements, but Nerchio did knock down those rocks, so he doesn't have to worry about that tiny-ass choke. He goes all the way around, and it works out not too badly for him. Again, Roaches need to be on the front lines. Marines have a little bit of trouble chipping through their health and armor, but the Ravagers have got damage for days behind them, as long as they're safe and sound behind the Roaches.
Yeah. And more importantly, he finally has an Ultralisk Cavern on the way. He's dealt with Polt's aggression. He can actually comfortably get up to probably plating before Polt's next push is ready to go. And Nerchio's looking good in this game.
This choke, though, this is why I don't like Ultras here. Like, these chokes are going to be so bad for the Ultras.
Sure. Yeah, but that's where you are going to start just going around the army, rather, with this opening, like his Roaches are doing. And with Ultras, Polt definitely will have to turn back. In fact, he has to turn back here.
Yeah, this is like base trade time for Polt. He's either got to go or come back home. He can't stick around on either side of the map for too long. He is just going to go for it. So Ace 1, Ace 2 in chat. If you got him, boys and girls, it's a base trade here on BaseTradeTV. Fungal growth on all the SCVs. Rested pepperonis, boys. Make a pizza. You can deal with all that blood. Command Center is going to float to the gold, probably. Polt is recognizing the fact that this might very well be a full-on base trade, but so does Nerchio as he pulls off to the farthest base that he can mine from so he can continue to mine comfortably. Roaches are going to trade out somewhat here on the front lines. Drones get pulled. Everything's dying on both sides of the field, and Nerchio has a much bigger army to come back off of. Problem is, it's an army that has to deal with all these Liberators and tanks still.
Yeah, and drops, most importantly, where his command center is fine and dandy at the gold base. Nerchio was really close to getting to Ultralisk, but is unable to do so now. Well, actually, maybe able to sneak out 1 or 2, but they won't have plating, so I don't know if that's going to be worth it. His upgrade does finish, too.
I'm really worried about this now. Like, Polt, this is his last life, guys. I want to remind everybody, like, he's still got the potential to win this game. Like, he's mining off a gold, floats over, that's cool, neat, whatever. But he does have a lot of Nerchio to go through still.
That's true. I mean, like, as soon as Nerchio
these medevacs are empty.
Polt,
they're dry. They've got no energy. They can't even heal the stem.
Well, once Polt has to move, then he has to move his Liberators at some point. Like,
fungal's going to be
able to take
devastating
on the army.
If Nerchio lands a fungal on the Marines, you can't heal that up.
Even without the fungal, there's There's only one of them, but it would do a lot of extra damage. He's gonna try and take care of the Liberators first. He really could just, like, continue on with his day. He can be as careful as he wants, because Polt's not getting his production up anytime soon, even though he is taking 2 gold bases.
Paul, you crazy. Well, I mean, gold base is going to be kind of questionable, though, because the only thing he can do is make units with gas. But still, I mean, it's a base, and he's still alive. He's still fighting. Nerchio expands as well. A swarm host. Maybe a misclick. But I would actually love it in this situation. Land on the Marines, have the tanks friendly fire. I don't know. Send it over the chasm to that base. One way or the other, he does have drops, so this base will not safely mine for Polt like it normally would. But to squeeze in really quick, these donations, I'm going to read the most recent one from Gonad the Barbarian. He says, I am Gonad the Barbarian, slayer of booty holes. Hashtag leave them steaming. JTDC donates $2. Says, how you guys like your steak? I like mine bloody. And Cable Legs donates $5. Says, here's money for my Partoof postage. Now, Polt was trying to get Banshees. I actually thought that was going to be phenomenal. If he had cloaked Banshees at this stage of the game, that wouldn't have been too bad. Problem is, Starport got straight up killed. And Polt really can't remake this. And I actually think Zombie Nerchio's on the verge of knocking Polt out of this tournament.
Oh yeah, I think he's got it. He's, you know, he lost 2 bases, but surprisingly he kept his Hive alive and an Ultralisk Cavern alive.
You know,
and with the mass amount of roaches he already had, that's pretty good for him.
I also want to remind everybody that Nerchio was playing on Polt's home server this whole time. Every single game on the East Coast of the American server. Never did we go to Europe. Never did we swap.
Yeah. Nerchio still made it work. Now, Polt has some serious mining going on. Well, serious mule mining going on, I should say. Has to drop 2 more. And he's starting to get the SCV count up. He's actually building SCVs from these command centers. But he's going to have to, like, transfer Marines with medevacs. Yeah, this one Swarm Host is being such a boss. We'll see another Swarm Host Locust wave in about a minute.
But here's the thing, right? And this is like a TIL moment. A Liberator shoots so slow, the 2 Locusts inside a Liberator circle can actually kill the SCV before the Liberator kills them.
Very important knowledge.
I mean, you're never going to see it used again, ever. Medevac's starting to go down. Polt just became complacent. I think he is kind of realizing his situation right now. Because without those Medevacs, he can't get these units off the island. He's got this base, which is kind of cool. Nerchio Morphin and 7 Overlords. You know what?
Oh, he wants to end the game.
He just wants... He wants us to end. If he just wants to Spire, get a couple of Corruptors out. I mean, he perhaps thinks it's a little bit more desperate than it is, but it isn't desperate at all. Nerchio really does have a bit of relaxation he can do.
I don't know how I would think it was desperate. I mean, okay, he hasn't checked the top right yet, and of course not the middle right, although his expanding
it's
might
Polt
meet
Zombie Grub. You can't leave him alone. He's so good at not dying. That's why it's desperate, okay?
Okay, alright. But I agree, Nerchio could just try and go for Corruptors, fly over the Marines, and have a field day.
So there are some dead spaces, and the Liberator's going to have to shift around and move. If they stay sieged up, they will die to the Corrosive Biles. Ultra! Surprise!
Get out of the range, you fool!
Oh, the Swarm Host is here. Ha!
Oh,
Snoot.
well...
Snoot, you unhockey a Swarm Host, but Nerchio's here to tell you... Oh. Okay, never mind, it's dead.
It had Locust,
This is actually going really badly for Nerchio, but I was going to throw how terrible this engagement has been. The Marines actually trade out not bad, but all the Liberators are gone. There's no safety. There's no recourse for this. Polt is fighting for his life, but GG. Ladies and gentlemen, Polt will be eliminated from the TING Open, and Nerchio will find his way to the finals.
Oh, last place. Can you believe that?
That's not where... You know what? Patience called it. Patience said Polt wasn't going to do good today when he was talking about how good Ryung was doing. So, like, mind blown right now. I don't even feel like Polt played those bad of games either. Like, Nerchio played really well. I was really, like, not on the Nerchio hype train in that first game. It looked exactly like I think everyone expected it to go. But those last 3, bim, bam, boom, knocks out Polt, finds his way to the finals. Oh, boy. All right, now we got to go to Korea. I guess I'll let you figure out if they're doing Vetoes first or if we go to Korea first. But we're going to Korea for the winners finals. Rogue versus Ryung in our own little mini GSL called TING. So guys, we're going to be swapping some servers. We're going to be doing some sponsored ads while we do that because we got to do vetoes and such in the process. So again, a word from TING about their devices, and we'll see you guys in a few.